Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans 1977. It's Tuesday, and you know what that means. It is time for the NXT Event Center from events from the NXT Wrestling Show on the CW Network, plus matches from NXT Level Up. And now, here's the host of the show, Mr. Eric M. Lima.
Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans 1977, episode 1796. That's right, we just finished watching both NXT and AEW Dynamite. I ended up watching Dynamite on the computer, NXT on TV. When NXT was over before Dynamite, switched it over. And we're going to talk about what happened on the November 1st edition of NXT Level Up. As you know, I'm doing NXT Level Up with NXT. A couple of matches. Kylie Bright went up against Lainey Reed, and Lainey Reed ended up winning that matchup. As she was interviewed by Sarah Schreiber after the matchup, she was dressing Layla Diggs, who was not very happy about how Lainey Reed picked up the victory over her. And then the main event of Level Up, Oro Mensah of Metaphor took on Nico Vance, the rookie, and Mensah did pick up the victory there. Now, this special edition of NXT takes place in the 2300 Arena, formerly known as the legendary ECW Arena, and on South Swanson Street. So, it's NXT 2300. They had an open with the ECW theme and everything else. It was pretty good. It started off with the women's hardcore matchup, and the special guest referee, the lovely Dawn Marie, and she's still looking gorgeous for her age. I'm telling you something right now. I think the woman never ages, to be honest with you. Lola Vice took on Jada Parker, and these two beat the heck out of each other with anything they can get their hands on: trash cans, chairs, kendo sticks, tables. And in the end, Jada Parker ended up picking up the victory over Lola Vice. Seems like Jada Parker knows a thing or two about being from the streets. So there's that matchup. Ethan Page and Rich Holland was addressing Trick Williams and Bubba Ray Dudley, and they were hanging out at the Rocky Balboa statue in Philadelphia. That's one of the stops that you make. And then Kaylani Jordan was getting prepared for her matchup, but she was talking to RVD. RVD gave her a little bit of advice, which is really cool. And then Kaylani Jordan goes, "Thanks for the advice. Now you want to know where Ava's office is?" And she was giving him directions to Ava's office, but now he's about to go. Wesley attacked RVD with a steel chair, and I don't know why he did that. So, D'Angelo family were about to talk to Brooks Jensen and Sean Spears about a possible North American title shot. But then little Guido Nunzio Maritato, along with Tony Mamaluke, the FBI, said, "Hey, you didn't call back. Here's what we do. We made some matches." Tony Mamaluke made a match for next week, as Adriana Rizzo will go up against the lovely, new and improved Nikita Lyons. This Nikita Lyons is a whole different Nikita Lyons that we know and love. But I think that this new version of Nikita Lyons is going to help her try to get a championship gold in the women's division NXT, because it's totally stacked right now, dude. The NXT women's division, and then Nunzio says, "Hey, you can defend the North American title against me." In other words, Nunzio said that to Tony D'Angelo. So there was a title match right there. And Javon Evans took on Wesley, which was a great high-flying matchup. And during the matchup, the RVD comes down to ringside. He distracted Lee long enough during the matchup to pick up for Javon Evans to capitalize on the distraction. He ended up picking up the victory over Wesley, thanks to Javon Evans wins thanks to the presence of Rob Van Dam. Meanwhile, Ava, Mr. Stone, and Stevie Turner were about to head to the ring to make an important announcement. But Eddie Thorpe wanted to talk to her, and Ava goes, "I promise you, we'll talk about it, but I gotta do this right now." And then also Eddie Thorpe goes, "That's twice he did this." So I think you're going to see a brand new attitude in Eddie Thorpe. So we have to be well aware of that. So Ava, along with Mr. Stone and Stevie Turner, we're about to make an announcement. And Deadline will be coming back the first Saturday of December. That would be the 7th. And it will take place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And they're bringing back the Iron Survivor matchup. So that's a huge deal. Then Mr. Stone interrupts Ava. He said that Philly's got the most passionate wrestling fans. He believes that New York's wrestling fans are the most passionate, but he says that the Boston fans are more passionate than Philly, and he starts running his mouth about the Phillies and all that. But then all of a sudden, weirdly enough, the lights went out. But then when the lights went back on, Rhino, the recent newly minted TNA Hall of Famer Rhino, went in the ring and speared Mr. Stone, and the fans went completely nuts in the ECW original. So you got to remember now, NXT still working with the TNA talent, so it's a little bit of crossover since Rhino is an ECW legend. And Zaria, Julia, Stephanie Vicaire, Kehlani Jordan, and Jordan Grace talk about what they're going to do in the main event to Fatal Influence, Cora Jade, and Roxanne Perez. Meanwhile, Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson interrupt them and say, "Hey, we'll be watching the matchup. We did our thing at Crown Jewel, even though we didn't win the belts, but we will be champions." So, and they said that their money's on the champions, Henley and Perez. So, Trick Williams and Bubba Ray Dudley took on Ethan Page and Rich Holland, and with Holland and Page ended up winning the matchup. But then the fight decided to continue to brawl after the matchup, and then Bubba Ray went to Trick and said, "Get the tables." And he's about to get a table, so where's the table? We didn't see a table. All of a sudden, the Dudley's Boys theme song played again, and D-Von Dudley came out, and then Ethan Page ended up getting the 3D through the table, and then as the Dudleys and Trick Williams celebrating, D-Von Dudley presented Trick with the Dudley Boys glasses, and I'll tell you one thing, that's a huge honor for Trick Williams right there. Let's talk about it, as he would say. Meanwhile, Dion Lennox and Ashante and Adonis were talking about how, falling in love with a girl and all that, as Adonis has been doing, and Dion Lennox was in his book. But then Carmen Petrovich interrupted him, and then she's yapping away and being angry with Adonis, and then he goes, "This is your birthday?" Yeah, happy belated. And he walked away, and then Carmen goes, "He knew my birthday?" Whatever, she walks away with the whole thing. And Fatal Influence, Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez addressing being in the main event, and they said, "We're going to show the world why we are the main event." And meanwhile, North American title was on the line as Tony D'Angelo went up against Nunzio, and there was a couple of times that Tony Mamaluke tried to get involved, but to no avail. And it was a great matchup, and Tony D'Angelo retains the title. And as he does so, he looks at Nunzio and said, "Hey, you know what?" And Nunzio said, "You know what?" They shook hands, they gave a hug, then the Italian greeting kisses, and and then Tony Mamaluke joined in, the rest of the family joined in. It was a beautiful thing, and you know what? Family business is ended, and I'll tell you one thing, Nunzio be like, "Forget about it, you're good, kid, you're good." So, it was really cool. I think, I think FBI must be fans of these guys too. So the FBI and the family, okay, I'll take that. You know, they should hire Tony and Mama Luke as a manager for the D'Angelo family. And you get the personal concierge, you get your underboss, you got the mole, the girl. Why not have a manager in Tony and Mama Luke? Just saying. And Spears and Brooks Jensen were watching the matchup from the back, and they were talking about, I feel like Italian. Let's go next week. So, up. And Lexis King, after last week's Heritage Cup, because I'm sorry I lost, and William goes, it's okay, gives Lexis King some advice. Lexis King goes, thank you. And then William Regal ended up talking to Charlie Dempsey, and then William Regal said to the others, and it's not just his crew, this is your crew too. Get some gold in there, thinking about getting some gold, and when Sinclair says something along the lines of fatherly advice, great fatherly advice, and Charlie Dempsey kind of looks at her, okay. So, but Nikita Lyons, via Progressive Flow, addressing the women's division, she says she'll start with next week with Carmen Petrovic. So this is gonna be a heck of a matchup. Petrovic and Nikita Lyons both immersed in the martial arts. We'll see how this one develops. Meanwhile, Ava was talking to Stevie Turner as Turner was carrying a nun, carrying Mr. Stone, who's out like a light to the back and all. So, and Ava was talking to Fraxium and said, we'll figure out the tag team title situation once. Cause I know you guys are fighting champions. You'll find out next week. He says, okay. And then Nathan Frazier goes, it sounds like a week off to me. And Axel was afraid that he's Nathan Frazier's not taking any of this seriously. Meanwhile, the main event, though, before that, Francine was in the 2300 arena watching the main event match for the first row, as Stephanie Vicaire, Julia, Keilani Jordan, Zaria, and Jordan Grace took on the team of Fatal Influence. That will be the NXT Women's Champ Fallon Henley, JC Jane, and Jasmine Nix. They're teaming up with Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez, the current NXT Women's Champion. And in the end, Zaria, Grace, Julia, Lennox, and lost in thought there. Yeah. Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez, the women's champion. In the end, Zaria, Julia Vicaire, Keilani Jordan, and Jordan Grace ended up winning that matchup. And that ends NXT from the 2300 arena. The NXT Event Center from the 2300 arena in Philadelphia. That's all the time we have on the show. Episode 1797 is coming up next. AEW Dynamite. I will see you guys later. Guys, have a wonderful day, and until next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, take us home. That is all for today's episode. This is your announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E, doing for Bob Saget Productions, and in association with Raven Bofa Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching today's episode. Tune in next time for another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. Goodbye for now.